You're listening to the True North Success Podcast. Real stories of personal, professional, and financial wins from Alberta's best. With your hosts, Gary Ma and Amy Kim.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Today my special guest zooming in from beautiful Edmonton, Alberta, very accomplished real estate investor, real estate entrepreneur, Gary Ma. And Gary has been investing or in and around real estate for quite some time. I think he kind of accidentally got into his first rental property way back around 2000. And these days, he and his partners focus on much bigger deals, apartment buildings. And he and his partners are investing in apartments in Alberta and Saskatchewan these days. So, Gary, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Yeah, it was awesome to be here.
Yeah, and Gary's also a fellow podcast host with his show, True North Success. So, Gary, tell us a little bit about, at the time we're doing this recording, what does your real estate portfolio consist of? What do you have in there?
Yeah, so currently we have 4 larger multi-family buildings, apartment buildings, that are 25 units and more. And they're primarily positioned in Alberta and Saskatchewan. And we have in total about 175 units that we rent out.
Wow. Okay. That's very, very impressive. So chances are you didn't start off when you're a little kid thinking that you want to become a big fancy pants real estate investor. So what was it that kind of sparked that interest in real estate, and what got you on this path?
Well, yeah. Back around 2000, we started investing in a little bit of real estate. And we being you and your spouse? Me and my spouse. Mm-hmm. We were dabbling in real estate. And we weren't all that educated in terms of knowing how to buy real estate. And then later on in 2010, a friend suggested I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And from there, we kind of focused more so on, learning how to invest in real estate and how to do it properly. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So there's a big difference between reading a book and then going from that to having 170 plus rental units. So what was that first proof of concept for you where you said, you know what? Oh yeah, this is what I really want to do.
Yeah, so that really came in 2018 when I bought my first multifamily building.
Your first apartment building.
First apartment building. And, based on that, I could really see that it could generate good cash flows. So where, it could potentially replace my working income as an engineer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And from there, we were able to expand into additional buildings. And
all right. Yeah. So it sounds like you kind of got started by accident with a condo way back when. Then things kind of were stagnant for a while. You got inspired. You read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah. And there was another pretty big lapse from 2010 to 2018.
Right.
And then you found a really good deal and it's been full speed ahead. So it sounds like you got a lot of education. Why did you decide to really laser focus in on apartment buildings versus, buy, fix, and sell, like flip this house, or, self-storage facilities or mobile home parks? There's lots of different ways to invest in real estate. Why do you prefer apartment buildings or what you call multifamily investing?
Right. With apartment buildings, there's bigger scale. Okay. So when we buy, let's compare, like a single family house, you basically have one income in a single family house. And you also have
tenant, you got one check.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So with an apartment building, you could potentially have, let's say 40, 50 tenants in there. And let's say if one leaves, well, your vacancy rate is only, 1 out of 50.
Right.
Okay.
Versus 100% out of 1.
Exactly. So you're getting way more income from the apartment building, and you basically have one boiler to fix, one roof to fix, instead of 50.
Mm,
If you were to buy 50 single family homes.
right. 50
Yeah.
houses. Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of a little bit more leveraged that way. It's a bit more efficient. You've got
Yeah.
a whole bunch of rental units under one roof instead of 50 roofs.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else that just really floats your boat with multifamily?
Yeah. So with multifamily, we can get financing based on how the building is actually performing. Okay, based on the financial performance of the building.
Mm,
With a lot of the residential type properties, they're
like
looking at
houses,
a
houses.
house.
Yeah.
They're looking at, let's say, your personal income situation. Now, if your personal income situation can support buying 50 houses, that's great, but not very many people can.
Right. Right. So if I'm understanding what you're saying is if you want to buy a house as a rental, that's okay, but the bank's not going to look at the money that the house generates. It's going to look at the money Gary generates at his job as
Yeah.
to whether or not he qualifies for a mortgage for that house. On the other hand, if Gary's buying a 50 unit apartment building, then the bank looks at the building, not so much at Gary, because the building and all of the tenants are going to be really supporting and paying for that mortgage. Am I getting the gist?
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
so an apartment building is really looked at like a little business.
Hmm.
Okay. So they're looking at all the income that's coming in and all the repairs and maintenance expenses. And
Hmm.
what's left over is required to support the mortgage. And then what's left over that is cash flow, which we can keep.
Yeah, which is
Yeah,
what it's all about. Yeah. Okay.
exactly. So,
So when it comes to investing in apartment buildings, you've been doing this for a while now, Gary. What are
yeah.
some of the misconceptions maybe you had way back in the day or other people have about investing in apartment buildings?
Yeah, some of the misconceptions would be that it's hard to buy.
Okay.
Okay. That you need a lot of money to get into buying an apartment building. Um, and from my experience, it really depends on the building and the financial performance of the building. Okay. Now, in some cases, you can get relatively high mortgage values for the building and put in relatively low down payments to purchase a building, an apartment building.
Right.
But in our case, we were able to do that and still generate really good cash flows. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
and that's just
So
based on
it doesn't take as much money as some people think. Like if you're
yeah,
buying a $4 million apartment building, you don't have to come up with $4 million cash,
exactly.
quite a bit less. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Any other big kind of misconceptions people have about apartment buildings?
Um, I think that people th- think that they're having to deal with tenants and toilets
Well,
a lot.
you talked about that. You got
I
maybe you
mean,
don't have 50 different roofs to deal
yeah,
with, but you do have 50 different personalities and tenants to deal with in an apartment building. So
yeah,
is that not a
yeah.
legitimate concern?
Well, it is and it isn't, because normally, if the building is big enough, you would hire a property manager, and
Right.
they would actually deal with a lot of the tenants and the
Mm.
toilets and the interfacing and do the repairs and maintenance.
So they're the ones getting those calls at 3 o'clock in the morning, not
Exactly.
necessarily you or your
It,
investors.
that's right. That's
Okay.
right. Yeah.
All right. So, Gary, now that you've been doing this for a while and you've got a significant portfolio of apartment buildings,
Yeah.
when you're looking at new deals or new opportunities, what are some of like the non-negotiables that absolutely have to be there for you to even consider the deal?
Right. Um, First thing is positive cash flow.
So
So
what does that mean?
that means, your income minus all your repairs and maintenance and expenses and your property taxes,
Mortgage
your major expenses.
and
Okay. Your
mortgage?
and your mortgage,
Okay, that's a
and
big
paying
one.
the mortgage, and you get money in your pocket at the end of the month.
Right. So you got all the rents coming in, you got all the expenses going out.
Yeah.
Whatever's left over at the end of the month, that's the profit called cash flow in this situation. So yeah, so every deal you look at has to have positive cash flow. Now, a lot of people would say, well, that's just logical. Why is that like a non-negotiable?
Well, it gives you really a cushion in case the economy, let's say, downturns.
Hmm.
Okay. So let's say the economy downturns and, vacancy is a little bit higher. And if you don't have that positive cash flow, then, you're going to be paying out of your own pocket. And
Right.
in some cases, it could be tens of thousands of dollars.
Well, I think one of the issues that we have in Canada as well, especially in some of the larger centers like the Vancouvers and the Torontos and the
Yeah.
Montreals, maybe even right in Edmonton and Calgary, is even if you have an apartment building with 50, 75, 100 rental units in it, they aren't always positive cash flow. Like the
Yeah.
higher the price, the lower the cash flow. So it's
Right.
not like it's an automatic thing where every apartment building has positive cash flow.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So every deal is different, and you have to look at the ones that are generating a good cash flow return.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other non-negotiables for you? So it has to be cash flow positive day one. Anything else that you're really looking for?
Um, Looking at the economy of the like typically I've been investing in smaller communities, not
Okay.
necessarily in, Edmonton, Calgary, but sort of secondary markets.
Kind of like
And
bedroom communities,
yeah,
those kind of
bedroom
things.
communities, maybe an hour to 2 hours outside of a larger market.
Yeah.
And in those areas, I look at the economy, make sure that it's relatively steady. Like agriculture is a big component of Alberta's economy,
Hmm.
and that's really steady. It doesn't go up and down very
Hmm.
much. And when you have buildings in a nice steady eddy location, you're going to
Yeah.
get steady eddy returns as well.
Yeah. Boring's beautiful
Yeah,
sometimes, right?
exactly. That's what it is. It's boring.
So and I know you're a modest kind of guy, Gary, but to brag yourself up a little bit, like over these years of study and direct experience, all the way back to the
Yeah.
2000, and now that you're a full-time real estate investor, what is it that you bring to the table or you find easier than perhaps some other people in the field?
Yeah, I think I would say that I bring creativity
Hmm.
to deals to make sure that they work.
Hmm.
Analyzing the deal, dealing with, current owners and just working with them to make a deal positive for everybody, you
Right.
know. So it's not just that, I win, the current owner or seller wins, the investor wins. So everybody wins. Nobody has to lose.
Yeah. No, that's very, very important. Okay, so we kind of understand big picture why you like apartment buildings. Maybe
Yeah.
walk us through one of your favorite deals. You don't have to go too much into the weeds, but maybe just give us the big picture overview of one of your favorite properties or favorite deals.
Right, right. Well, we bought a building. It's a 42 unit building about 2 hours east of Edmonton,
Okay.
and it's in an agricultural community.
Hmm.
It's called Vermilion.
Hmm.
Okay,
I've heard of it.
and it's right along Highway 16
Got
towards
it.
Saskatchewan, and we bought it, and in there it's just steady. We didn't have to do too much for renovations or anything like that.
Hmm.
Where rents are steady, we're able to increase the rents. Cash flow is positive. The tenants are good. Um, it's just, we just been optimizing the building to.
What does that mean? What does optimizing the building mean?
Yeah. So the building value really goes up in value if you can increase what they call the net operating income.
The profit at
The
the end of the day.
profit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the income minus the expense component. So we're looking at ways of how we can increase our income and decrease our expenses and still
Right.
provide a really good living experience for our tenants.
So what happened with this particular property? I mean, so far it sounds nice, but
Yeah.
not very exciting.
Yeah.
Why is this your favorite deal? What's
Well,
different about it?
okay. So when we bought the building, let's say about a year and a half ago now, 2 years now,
Yeah.
okay, we were able to invest, not like a reasonable amount, and we're getting fantastic cash on cash returns on this. So that means we're getting good cash flows every month, and they're increasing every year. Yeah.
And what has that done to the value of the property?
Well, when we can increase the net operating income, that also increases the property.
So
So
when you bought it, if you
yeah,
don't, big broad strokes, how much
yeah,
did you pay for the property? Like how much was it sold for?
yeah. So when we bought it for about 4.5 million.
Okay, 4.5 million.
Yep,
So fast forward 2 years,
yep,
you've increased the income, you've lowered some of the expenses, you've kind of dialed things in.
yep.
So now when you take that property to the bank and you show them the numbers,
Right.
has the value increased higher than 4.5 million?
Yeah. Right now it's valued at closer to around 6 million.
Wow. All right. So that's added another million and a half in value to
Yes.
the property
Yeah.
in 2 years.
Yes.
That's better than working at McDonald's.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, it can't be all sunshine and flowers. Over the course of your real estate career,
Yeah.
what have been some of those learning experiences that you've come across?
Yeah. So one of them is that you know how you hear the story when you do a renovation that it takes longer and that it takes more money. Well, that is absolutely true
Uh,
times.
takes twice as long and costs twice as much. Is that kind of
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I went through that exact scenario on one of our apartment buildings.
uh-huh.
But we survived and lots of learnings through that.
Uh-huh.
And it was when you're going through it's difficult, but when you look back, it's a good experience.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
most
gain a
definitely.
lot of wisdom.
Well, and as long as you've got that cushion you were talking about, it's probably still okay. So, I mean, if that example that you gave, increasing the value of the property 1.5 million, well, if your renovations went from 100,000 to 200,000 or even 300,000, but you've bumped up the value that much, it kind of comes out in the wash, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. So the renovation stuff in that particular building, we didn't actually have to do too much renovations.
Wow.
So it was
Yeah.
it was just really
Just
buy and
what you call
hold
optimizing the
and
whole thing. Yes.
optimizing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
So
So, Gary, another part of all of this, so there's one part is, finding opportunities, finding deals. Then there's buying the deals. Then there's optimizing the properties. And there's
hmm
the day-to-day management of the property and of all of the tenants. That's kind of what's going on there. Another big part of this is working with partners, working with investors,
yeah.
because even though you don't necessarily need to bring a ton of money to the table to buy these kind of properties. If you want to grow your real estate portfolio, you're working with other people and their money to
Yeah.
partner together to buy more properties. So tell me a little bit about your relationship with your investors or your partners. Like what do they get out of investing with Gary Mo?
Well, I mean, they're getting experience, like quite a bit of experience. And with that experience, that really comes down to knowing how to put a deal together,
Mm-hmm.
like how to get the financing together. Like there's a lot of moving parts in apartment buildings when you're buying apartment buildings.
Right.
Things are changing all the time, and we're having to deal with mortgage brokers and lender, rules that are changing all the time, and just having the right team members together to, make it work. Now, we make it simple. Look, it looks easy from the outside, but there's a lot of work going on in the
So
background.
it might be easy for them, not so much for you. Is that what
Exactly.
Well, yeah,
Exactly.
that's why
Yeah.
you're making the big bucks, man. That's what
Yeah.
it's all about. Yeah.
Exactly. So like, we make it easy for the investor, but we're doing all the work for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so they're getting very good returns. They're
Yes.
getting all the benefits of being an investor in an apartment building deal
Yeah.
without so many of the headaches. So besides that, so you're bringing the team and the experience to the table. And besides good returns, what else are they kind of getting out of this working relationship? Like what maybe are some of the intangible things that maybe some of your partners have mentioned to you?
Right, right. Well, I think I would say that the return of capital
Mhm.
is important. The
So making sure their initial investment is solid is
that's
taken
right.
care of. Yeah.
Yeah. Their investment is solid. That they're looked after in terms of reporting.
Yeah.
That they're getting information on a timely basis. That if something is going funny in terms of, let's say, the economy or the market, they're going to be informed about it.
Hmm.
Okay.
Well, yeah, it's easy to keep in touch with people and everything's all rosy, right? It's
Yeah.
a little less fun when things aren't working exactly according to plan. What do you do under those circumstances? Has that happened yet?
Well, it, the economy definitely goes up and down. I mean,
Yeah.
we try to give emails or phone calls to, our investors and let them know, okay, this is what's happening in the market. We don't know for sure where things are going, but, we try to give them regular updates
Yeah, nobody's got the
on it.
crystal ball, right? But yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
well, that's one of the advantage of investing in areas that aren't overly reliant on any one particular thing or aren't going to be spiking, going up and down like
Right.
crazy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, so as we're wrapping this up, Gary, where do you see yourself taking the portfolio over the next couple of years? What's your vision?
Right. Our vision is to like go 5 times, 10 times larger, actually.
Okay, so you want to
Like,
go from 170 units to 800 units or
yeah,
1500 units or more. That's
absolutely.
good. Okay,
Yeah.
why? Why is that important?
Well, like I think that there's still opportunity in
Hmm.
Alberta and Saskatchewan, and that there's a lot of investors who want to invest in real estate, but maybe don't know how or don't have the time.
Right.
And, if we're able to share these with investors, everybody wins.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So speaking of investors, who are the kind of people that you're looking to work with? Because I think now folks have a pretty good idea of who you are and what you do,
Right.
but it's a two-way street, so it's got to be a good
Sure.
fit for everybody. Who are the ideal kind of people that you like to work with as investor partners?
Yeah. So the ideal investor would be, somebody who is an accredited investor.
What does that
So,
mean?
so that means somebody who's generating over $200,000 of income per year,
Hmm.
or has financial assets, basically stocks, bonds that are worth more than $1 million,
Okay.
or maybe someone like a business owner or someone in the medical field could fit that mold.
All right. So people that have significant income or significant net worth, besides the obvious that, you're buying big apartment buildings, you need people that can cut reasonably large size checks.
Right.
Why is that important?
Well, yeah. So we're not focused on so much the retail type investor. We want to work with a certain number of investors, let's say per building.
Right. So
And
the fewer cooks in the kitchen, the better kind of thing.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So it makes it really difficult for us if we have, let's say, 100 investors on one building,
Right.
because the administrative costs and everything like that doesn't make sense.
Mhm.
Okay. So, we'd like to work with just a handful of investors per building and make it work that way.
Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Now, that's the financial side of things. What
Yeah.
about personality wise? What kind of people do you prefer working with personality?
Yeah. So typically the investor will, I mean, they want to know about their investment, but somebody who's not really going to be knocking on my door every 5 minutes going, "Hey, I heard this. This has
Uh-huh.
changed. What's going on in this market?" Type
So
of thing.
you're looking for folks who are looking for a passive investment where they trust the operator, you,
Right.
with their capital. You're going to be taking care of business. You're going to be reporting to them on a regular basis.
Honorary.
If
Yeah.
what hits the fan, you're going to report that to them as well. But
Yeah.
you don't need to be touching base 24/7 kind of thing around.
Exactly. It's not going to be a daily event.
Yeah, so you're looking for busy folks who are looking for good returns in a passive manner. Is that
That's right. Yeah.
all
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Very good. So if we have some of these kind of people listening or watching this, what's the best way for them to connect with Gary Ma?
Well, probably to call me or text me. Um, and my number is 780-718-6926.
What's that number again, Gary?
780-718-6926.
Perfect. Well, Gary, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you very much for giving us an update on what you're doing in real estate these days.
Hey, you're welcome. It was fun. Great.
All right, everybody, take care, and we will see you on the next one.
Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at TrueNorthSuccessShow.com/guest. We'd love to hear from you.